Peace and love, black family. This is Dr. Umar Johnson, the Prince of Pan-Africanism, coming to you live and direct. Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA. The occasion is the 4th annual Soul Day. We will be out in East Park today. I repeat, we will be out in East Park for the Nashville Soul Day. Food, fun, music, whatever you want to do. Entertainment. I'm looking forward to it. Only my second visit to Nashville ever. First time was about 5 years ago. Fisk University Auditorium, jam-packed, sold out. One of the largest indoor conscious events in the history of Fisk University. So we are back for part 2 today out at Soul Park, Tennessee. Stand up. Chattanooga, stand up. Memphis, stand up. Knoxville, stand up. And of course, Nashville, stand up. So today, I've been getting a lot of calls from parents, questions about their children. So I wanted to do a special edition of the Black Parent Teleconference, special edition. That's what we're doing today. So if you have any questions about your children, you can call 857-232-0158, 857-232-0158. Access code is 870-864-POUND. 870-864-POUND. We are simulcasting Instagram Live and Facebook Live at the same time. If you prefer to text message your question or email it, you can do that too. 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, or you can email DrUmarJohnson at yahoo.com, DrUmarJohnson at yahoo.com. Next Saturday, September the 14th, we will be in Bridgeport, Connecticut. That's next Saturday, September the 14th. We will be in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The exact address for Bridgeport next Saturday the 14th is, I believe it's the Mission Baptist Church. Let me see. Yes, Messiah. The Messiah Baptist Church, 210 Congress Street. Messiah Baptist Church, 210 Congress Street in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Saturday, September the 14th, from 1 until 5, doors at noon. 1 until 5, doors at noon. You can get your tickets at the door, or you can go to eventbrite.com. For more information about Bridgeport, you can call 203-685-8762, 203-685-8762. You can also email bdmsmile at yahoo.com. Sister Joanne up in Bridgeport, Connecticut is hosting that event. And then we got Memphis, Tennessee, October the 5th. I am back in Tennessee again. This must be a Tennessee season. Memphis, Tennessee for the Black Survival Conference, Saturday, October the 5th. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Tulsa, Greenwood Cultural Center, Saturday, November the 2nd. And the very next day, we are in Oklahoma City. That's right, OKC. OKC. Russell Westbrook, stand up. OKC, we will be there Sunday, November the 3rd. Working on my Kwanzaa tour this year. It appears we're going to do Kwanzaa all through Florida. It's going to be a Florida Kwanzaa, first time ever. Dr. Umar in Florida for Kwanzaa. Jacksonville on December the 26th, first day of Kwanzaa. Orlando, December the 27th, second day of Kwanzaa. Then we're going to go down to Pompano Beach, right outside of Fort Lauderdale. So my Fort Lauderdale family, you're going to have to come about 20 minutes to Pompano Beach, Florida. That will be on Saturday, the third day of Kwanzaa. Sunday will probably be West Palm. Okay, and then Monday will probably be Miami. So we putting together the Florida Kwanzaa tour. If you live in Florida, and I've never been to your city, you need to get at me. As long as you got a venue. If you don't have a place where I can do the lecture, don't waste my time. But if you know of a place in your Florida city where I can do the lecture, shoot me a text and we can make it happen. Make sure y'all donate to the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Make sure y'all donate to the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware 19809, 9634 Wilmington, Delaware 19809. Get those donations in. We're trying to raise $1 million to restore the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. We're going to start with the Marcus Garvey building. If we don't get enough funds, we'll just do the one school. But if we can get $1 million, we can do all 4 buildings, the entire campus. Be ready to open next year. Marcus Garvey Block Party. Get them donations in. We're no longer using Cash App. Cash App has been causing problems. They're not telling me why they're causing problems. They're not communicating. I think it's sabotage. So no more Cash App. All check and money order, as well as bringing your donation to today's event in Nashville, bringing your donation to Connecticut's event next Saturday in Bridgeport. Oh, I almost left out Pontiac, Michigan. Pontiac, Michigan. The Prince of Pan-Africanism will be in Pontiac, Michigan for the first time ever on Wednesday, September the 18th. Pontiac, Michigan is going to be a live interview lecture, and it's going to be live streamed with a special guest audience. If you want tickets to that, shoot me a text. Shout out to Detroit. I ain't seen Detroit since New Year's Day 2018. I haven't forgot you, but I'm sure a lot of my Detroit family will come out to Pontiac on Wednesday, September the 18th. Okay, Florida, we working on Kwanzaa. If you got any venues I can use in Florida, we need something in Miami. Okay, we looking at St. Lucie. We looking at Rosewood, Florida. We looking at Tallahassee. We looking at all different types of possible venues for the Florida event. With no further delay, I want to go to the phones. 857-232-0158. Questions about the children. We're going to focus on the children. If there's not a lot of questions about the children, we might do general questions, but it's about the babies right now. I want to focus on the babies right now. So if you have a question that's not about the babies, I'm going to ignore you right now because we're not on that. Again, you can text your question, email your question as well. Okay. So let's go to the phones. And again, the way we do this is I ask people to give me the city that they're calling from. That's how I will keep the order of the questions. So good Garvey Day to the people on the phone. Do we have a question this morning? If we do, just give me your city. Y'all can shout out y'all cities and I'll write them down. Do we have a question to get us started? Anyone with a question on the line this morning? I know we got a lot of people on the line. Anybody with a question? No question on the line this morning. Let me check the text real quick. 857-232-0158. 857-232-0158. Access code is 870-864-POUND. 870-864-POUND. All right. Any questions on the line? All right. Okay. We 10 minutes in, CP time. Parents, this is your time. It doesn't seem like we got a lot of questions coming in at the moment. If you got a question, call in 857-232-0158. 857-232-0158. Access code is 870-864-POUND. Any questions from the parents? Now is your time. Okay. I got a text question. What is your stance on our children joining the military? I don't support it. I don't support black children going into the military, especially not now, because peacetime has been over since the election of George W. Bush. Y2K, peacetime is over. Once upon a time, you could go into the military. You know, there was a peaceful time for maybe about 20 years. You didn't have to worry about seeing no service. Now you will see service. And without any type of college education, you're going to end up in the infantry or in some other disposable type of profession. So I don't support the military. Black folks ain't got no business fighting white folks' wars. Do we have a question on the line this morning? Make sure y'all mute your phones on the call. But if somebody got a question, all you got to do is state a city and state. Once I hear a city and state, I'll know that person has a question. Yes. Where you calling from?
Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania.
Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania, my neck of the woods. Go right ahead, Queen.
I don't have a question, but I wanted you to just talk about
You breaking up. You breaking up a little bit, God. See if you can move that phone.
Is it been a school year? We should not be getting our children evaluated for anything this early in the school year.
That is correct. We should not be getting our children evaluated for anything this early in the school year. Absolutely. Unless, you know, it was a speech problem from last year, unless you've already suspected autism, unless they're blind, unless they're deaf, unless they have some sort of an orthopedic impairment, unless they have some sort of health issue that requires immediate attention. But absolutely, there should be no evaluations this early in the year for learning disabilities, which you cannot prove anyway, for emotional disturbances, which you cannot prove anyway, for mild mental retardation, which you can't prove anyway, for ADHD, conduct disorder, ODD. You're absolutely correct, my sister. There should be no evaluations this early in the year for the major special ed disabilities, because, you know, deafness and blindness and brain injuries and orthopedic impairments, they're not major in terms of prevalence. We don't see them a lot. Okay, what we see all the time is the so-called learning disability, the so-called emotional disturbance, the so-called mild mental retardation, and the so-called ADHD conduct disorder. Okay. Please mute your phone. Okay. Okay. Okay, here's what we're going to have to do, family. Here's what we're going to have to do. I think I know who that is disrupting the call. I think I know who that is disrupting the call. Yes. Is that you, brother, with all the noise in the background?
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize I cut in on the call.
No problem. Go right ahead. Where you calling from, black man?
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn. Stand up. Go right ahead, brother.
Question. I have a 4-year-old. She's actually going on 5. Is there any schooling you could recommend to me in Brooklyn or close by that I could have her enroll in to get that, you know, that good education, African education coming up?
Not that I personally know of. I do know that there are some African-centered schools and homeschool networks in Brooklyn. None that I can state off the top of my lip. I also know that there's also a, what is the name of that school? I think there's a Claire Muhammad school in New York as well that's run by, I believe, a sister from the Nation of Islam. But if you send me a text message, I will send you the name of an elder that you can call, and she will be able to put you in touch with all the independent schools in New York. She has a very firm grasp of what's going on in the community, and she'll be able to do that. Do you have my cell number?
No, I don't think so. I have the email, Dr. Umar at Yahoo, right?
Yes, but my cell number is 215 989 9858.
9858. All right.
Yeah. So,
All right, so
yes. Text me. I would say text me tomorrow or Monday, because today I'm focused on the event here in Nashville. But if you text me tomorrow or Monday, I'll be able to get that to you.
All right, respect.
Got it. All right. Florida? Where at in Florida? What beach? Pompano. Thank you for correcting me, sister. Pompano Beach. I will be there the Saturday of Kwanzaa, Saturday, December the 28th, I guess that is. It's the Saturday of Kwanzaa. And I'm going to need you to help me get the word out. So Before you ask your question, I want to make sure you have my cell number because you're my new best friend because I need to know how to get the word out about the event in Pompano. Do you have my cell phone, good sister?
I don't. Can you let me know what it is? Yes.
Okay. You ready to take it down?
I'm ready.
215
Okay.
989 9858. 215 989 9858.
Okay, I got it.
Gotcha. Go right ahead with your question.
Now, my question is, our black children, they have to have a strong sense of self. My question is, how can we teach our children to have that really strong sense of self without feeling in competition with their peers? Because I find that, our black kids are always fighting with one another, and it's not a competition. So how can we teach our children to have that strong sense of self without having the, it's not a competition. You don't have to fight with your peers. Do you know what I mean?
Very good question. There's two parts to my answer, or two aspects to my answer regarding this issue of making sure our children have a strong sense of self that's not rooted in competing with and dominating or outperforming other children. First part of the question is we live in the United States of America, which is a Eurocentric culture that is based on competition and domination. So the culture we live in is about outdoing other people. That is white culture. That's what they do. Okay, they don't believe in collectivism. Okay, they don't believe in collective work and responsibility. They don't believe in equality or justice. They believe in domination and control. That's the culture we live in. Because of that, the school systems that our children attend, the schools that they participate in, have also been influenced by that same culture. So the schools by design are competitive. And the reason the schools by design are competitive in European culture, particularly in the United States, is because this country has no interest in taking care of everyone in it. This country has no interest in taking care of everyone in it. Because of that, they want the children to compete. Black, white, orange, green, purple. They want them to compete and outdo one another as a way of proving to the power structure that they are worthy of inclusion. So the way you get noticed by the power structure, okay, the Harvards, the Yales, the way you get noticed by them is by outdoing the competition. It's not about uniting. It's not about working together. It is about proving yourself by dominating the competition. That's how you get chosen, because if you don't do that, you'll never get chosen. We live in a capitalist society that is driven by power and greed. Capitalism is a monetary system that is based upon greed, total control of resources and opportunities. In such a society, there is never enough room for everyone. In such a society, there will always be a large percentage of poor people, a large percentage of have-nots. That is capitalism. So there will always be homeless people. There will always be hungry people. There will always be clothesless people. There will always be incarcerated people, because America don't care about everybody. Only those that can help the power brokers continue their carnage and exploitation of world resources. With that being said, there's no change in the system because the system is based on competition and only has enough spaces for a few people. The other part of this answer is rooted in the self-hate of African people. So separate from the fact that European culture depends on competition amongst its children to prove their worthiness for inclusion in its unhealthy, inhumane economic and political system, you also have the self-hate of the Negro, which is a byproduct of that capitalism, a byproduct of that racism. And the self-hatred of the Negro, which can probably be summarized in the words of Will Smith when he said, black people spend too much money they do not have, buying things they can't afford, okay, to impress people they don't even like. Okay, so we have a competition amongst ourselves as Africans in America to outdo each other in the name of self-hate. In other words, if I cannot be the best Negro, then obviously I'm nobody at all. Because after all, black people ain't shit. This is the mindset. Black people ain't shit. So if I can't be the best of black people, then I'm obviously not anybody. So in the consciousness of Negroes, within our psyche, embedded, trained, reinforced through parents, society, hip hop music, for example, the entire hip hop culture is based on competing with and destroying other rappers. That's the whole culture. There's no working together. It's all about being the HNIC. Our whole culture is about being the head Negro in charge by any means necessary. Becoming the head Negro in charge by any means necessary. So we have two problems. You have a European culture that is based on competition because it doesn't have enough room for everybody. And then you have a reactionary Negro culture that is based on self-hate, which is also about outdoing other black folks. So what is the solution? The solution is twofold. Number one, you said, how do we teach the children that? Well, number one, by doing just that, teaching them, directly telling them, this is not how we live. This is not how our ancestors live. This is not the culture of African people. We have to teach them that directly out front. But we also have to model that. So our children need to see us as adults actively engaging in collective behavior, collective work and responsibility, collective support, which is something we don't do a lot of, which is something we do not do a lot of. Black people are constantly comparing themselves to each other, constantly comparing ourselves to each other. We don't even notice white folks. We don't even notice the Chinese buying up the neighborhood. We don't even notice them because we're too busy trying to outdo one another. Why do you have rappers with 10 cars, but they come from neighborhoods without one single school for black kids? You got 10 automobiles in your parking lot, but there's not a single school for black children in the ghetto that you come from because they don't care about collective improvement. It's all about individualism. In fact, I would probably argue that black folks have achieved a level of individualism that might exceed white folks. We may be more individualistic than they are. We absolutely may very well be. So yes, you have to teach them directly, but the solution to all of this is we have to build schools. We have to build schools. And those schools cannot be based on competition as well, because we have a lot of black charter schools, right? But a lot of them are based on competition. So all they do is take the European model of education and socialization and they paint it black. They take the European model of education and socialization and they paint it black. That's not progress. Just like we took the presidency of the United States and Barack Hussein Obama and we painted the president black. Same racism, same white supremacy, same capitalism, same police genocide, same mass incarceration, same unemployment, but we painted it black, and black people even now consider Obama to have been progress. Can't name one thing that benefited black people because he was there, but we consider it progress whenever racism wears a black face. When racism wears a black face, that is never progress. Racism is racism, no matter the color of the person that's carrying it out. One of the reasons I'm so focused on building the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, and again, I want to thank all the brothers and sisters who supported and donated us through this process, because it was a tough process. But as we sit here today, thanking the Lord and, being gracious for what the ancestors have helped us do, we have 2 schools in Wilmington. 2 schools in Wilmington. But now we have to renovate those schools. We have to renovate those schools. This coming week, we got a $40,000 Newcastle County tax bill we got to pay. We got a $20,000 City of Wilmington tax bill we got to pay. Okay, we have to pay a water bill every month. We got to pay a city operations bill. We got all kind of bills coming in. So when y'all donate, a lot of that money going right back out. So if we're not donating more than we're putting out, we will never reach our goal. So everybody have to step their donations up. If you was giving $20 a month, you got to give $50. If you was giving $50 a month, you got to give $100. If you was giving $100 a month, you got to give $200 in order for us to cross the finish line. But Socialization is how we teach our kids to stop competing with each other. Book learning and speeches are only going to go so far. Book learning and speeches are only going to go so far. So for example, when you learn how to do hair, when you learn how to cut hair, so I was trained how to cut hair in high school, right? First, there's some book learning, right? They show you, they teach you how to cut hair. But just because they taught you how to cut hair, okay, and even though they modeled for you how to cut hair, you can never learn how to cut hair until you actually start cutting hair. So if we want our children to participate in a collectivist consciousness and in a collectivist culture and community, we have to show them how and make them do it. And that is socialization. Education is the information. Socialization is the behavior. Education is the information. Socialization is the behavior. Education is the information. Socialization is the behavior. And that's how we get that done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Queen. Make sure you send me a text because I'm going to need you to help me out. We only got about 4 months. I know that seems like a long time, but it's not. And I don't know the first thing about Pompano Beach, so maybe I got some, I don't know, black bookstores, cultural center, black talk show. But we'll talk about that. But please make sure you send me a text, Queen, because I'm going to need your help.
Absolutely. We'll make it happen.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Pompano Beach, Florida. The Prince of Pan-Africanism is coming to town for the first time Saturday of Kwanzaa. Jacksonville. I apologize to Jacksonville. I had to cancel last weekend's lecture in Jacksonville, Florida to attend the funeral of a very, very special childhood friend. And then I had to turn around and cancel Orlando because of Hurricane Dorian and the airport shut down. So to make it up to Jacksonville and Orlando, you will be my first 2 stops on the Kwanzaa tour. Jacksonville, the first day of Kwanzaa, December 26th. Orlando, the second day of Kwanzaa, December 27th. And then Pompano Beach debut Saturday of Kwanzaa, the 28th, 26th, 27th, 28th. And then we're going to work our way down to West Palm Beach, Miami, and we're looking for 1 or 2 other stops. So it's going to be a Florida Kwanzaa. Do we have another question on the line this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning, Queen. I'm going to need you to turn your phone up. Your voice is a little low. Where are you calling from, Goddess?
Hawaii.
Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii. That's one of the states I've never been to. We're going to have to make a Hawaii event happen in February. And I want you to contact me, Queen, because you and I are going to work together and make that happen if you're interested in doing so. But go right ahead with your question.
I have a question. I have a almost 12-year-old son. We've been told that he has ADHD, both types, and he turned to almost forced medication. So I was just trying to see what should I do about, outburst everything without actually putting him on medication because I don't want him to.
Okay.
Medication.
Here we go with this ADHD monster. Let's talk about the ADHD monster. Number 1, my beautiful African queen. Do not get your son evaluated for ADHD. Do not do it. ADHD does not exist. ADHD is a hustle. ADHD is a con game. ADHD is a fraud. Don't get the son evaluated for ADHD, because if you do, if you allow them to evaluate him and they classify that young man with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, if you decide not to medicate your son, they will call Child Protective Services on you and they will charge you with medical neglect. That will go on your child abuse clearance, and it will make it almost impossible for you to work around children ever again in life. They are very serious about putting every black boy on psychiatric medication as a form of social control. Let me say it again. They are putting every black boy on medication, psychiatrics, as a means of social control. In other words, the handcuffs is now the medication. The handcuffs is now the medication. See, this thing called ADHD came to us in 1980 as ADD, Attention Deficit Disorder. Same year the CIA dropped off crack cocaine, the American Psychiatric Association dropped off ADD. 7 years later, in 1987, ADD became ADHD. The reason they put an H in there, hyperactivity, was to justify medication for every black boy. to justify medication for every black boy. So if you get the diagnosis, and this is where black mothers and fathers have to understand, you can't take a chance getting him evaluated because ADHD don't exist. And since it don't exist, they can easily say your son has it, because if you can't prove it exists, you can't prove it don't exist, you see. So they can put that label on any boy they feel like it. And once they put that label on your son, you are doomed. They can now force you to clarify. They can't force you to get him tested, but they can force you to medicate after he's diagnosed. They can't force you to get him evaluated, but they can force you to medicate after he's diagnosed. So the way you stay out of this whole ADHD crap is you don't sign the paper. They're going to bully you. They're going to threaten you. And all you need to do is respond with a written letter to the principal. Always direct your comments to the principal, not the teacher, not the counselor, not the school psychologist, not the social worker, not the dean of students. Your letters should always go to the principal, because the principal is the legal responsible party in every school. The principal. So your letter should go to the principal, and you will simply say, I've been approached and I've been asked by Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so to have my son evaluated for ADHD. I have made my decision, and I will not be granting permission for him to be evaluated for ADHD. I do not want to be questioned or harassed about this again. And I would appreciate if you communicate to your staff members to no longer bring this topic up for discussion. Put it in writing, because they are not allowed to harass you. If they constantly harass you, then you can file a complaint against the school. Now, let me ask you another question. His school, is it predominantly black or predominantly white? What type of school is this?
It's predominantly Samoan and Hawaiian.
Samoan and Hawaiian. So your son is a minority, being an African in that school, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what that means, if they keep on hassling you, we're not going to be premature in doing this, but if they keep on hassling you, we can turn this into a racial issue. Your son is being racially profiled by the Hawaiians and the Samoans, and you can make a State Department of Education complaint against them. You can also make a United States Department of Education Office of Civil Rights complaint, discrimination against your son, trying to force medication and an evaluation because he is black. So that's a card we can play later. But the first card is to write a letter to the principal, asking the principal to have his educators back off of you and your son. Don't medicate your boy. Now, on top of that, you cannot assume that the complaints being made are valid. You cannot assume that the complaints being made are valid, which means that you're going to have to hire, and I don't know if there's any black psychologists, black counselors, black therapists, black social workers in Hawaii, but you need to find one and hire them to go into your son's classroom and observe him in the class to substantiate or refute what the teacher is claiming is taking place. See, teachers lie on children. And when they have it out for a child, they really lie on children. I know this. I'm a former school principal. I'm a current school psychologist. Teachers lie on kids. Yes, they do. So you can't assume that your son's teacher is telling the truth. So you may have to hire someone to go in and observe and substantiate or refute what's going on in that classroom. See, right now, all you have is your teacher's word and your son's word. They could both be lying. You see? So or they could both be telling just a little bit of the truth. You need an independent observer in that class to see what's going on. That's your next move, Queen. That's your next move. You need that independent observer in there. But in the meantime, you can also ask questions like, what is the behavior plan for my son in that school, in that class? What does the teacher do when he misbehaves? What does she do when he has a successful day? Because guess what? If that teacher is not punishing misbehavior, it will get worse. If that teacher is not rewarding good behavior, we won't see more of it. You have to punish misbehavior and you have to reward positive behavior. That's how we get what we want from our children. You must do both. You cannot do one. So you want to find out what the teacher is doing as well. Because if all she's doing is calling you and calling the principal up, that's not a behavior plan. Make sure you don't go to the school by yourself. Never go alone. Never, never, never. Take somebody with you. Never go to a school alone. Take somebody with you. Did you have a follow-up question?
No, that'll be all. Thank you.
All right. No problem. Also, for the parents out there, if you need one-on-one private consultation, you have something that you don't want to discuss on the Black Parent Teleconference, and of course, I don't do these as much anymore because we have a school to reconstruct, right? I don't do these as much. So if you need private consultation, you can text me. I charge $75 for 45 minutes. $75 for 45 minutes, but I'm not a stickler for time, and you can text me at DrUmarJohnson@yahoo.com. I also do life coaching. I do life coaching. So if you need life coaching, you're depressed, relationship problems, you don't know what to do with your career, anxiety, low self-esteem, if you need a life coaching session, we can do that as well. And we can also do that live. We can do that WhatsApp live, Facebook live, FaceTime live. If you want to do a live counseling session, we can do that life coaching session. So again, all you got to do is text 215-989-9858 to do that. Do we have another question on the call this morning? Is there another question on the call this morning? Let me see if I got any texts. Yes, sir. Where you calling from, beloved? Los Angeles, California. I'm still looking for a venue in Los Angeles and Oakland and Sacramento. California hasn't seen me because y'all haven't helped me find no venues. Go right ahead with your question, my brother. Your voice is a little low. If you're able to turn your volume up, that'd be good. You're a little low. Go right ahead.
Can you hear me better?
Yes, sir. You're a little better.
Okay, so one, I would like to help you find a venue. So take my number down.
I can't hear you, beloved. Your voice is it's not good at all. You sound kind of far away from the phone. Are you on speaker? Are you on speaker?
Hello?
Yes, sir. There we go.
Can you hear?
Nice and clear now. Go right ahead, beloved.
Okay, so I'm willing to help you find a venue out here. That's for one.
All right. Appreciate it. Do you have my cell number? Do you have my cell number,
Wait,
beloved?
so I'm gonna just talk straight, and then no, I'm not on speaker.
No, I said, do you have my cell number? Do you have my cell number so we can stay in touch?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Go right ahead.
Oh wow, that's like a 2-minute delay.
Go right ahead. I'm listening.
What's the cell number? You say it again?
215
No.
215
215
989
989
9858.
9858.
58. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll be in contact. This is crazy. All right.
All right, my brother.
All right, bless.
Bless it. Is there another question on the call this morning?
Pompano Beach, Florida.
Pompano Beach, Florida. Same queen or different queen?
Same queen.
Go right ahead.
My question is, how can we discipline our children without teaching them to resort to violence to solve their own problems or to channel their own frustration?
Good question. How can we discipline our kids without teaching them to resort to violence to relieve their own frustration? Well, first of all, we got to be very clear about something. In this European-controlled world that we live in, violence is sometimes necessary. So I don't want to teach our kids that violence is never necessary. If you got to defend your mother, defend your sister, defend your queen, defend your daughter, defend an elder, defend a sister in the community, violence is a part of life because the European introduced it so. He didn't create violence, but he has created such an atmosphere of violence that it would be irresponsible for us as parents to teach our children that violence is never necessary, because at times it will be. With that being said, my regimen for discipline is real simple. A child should only be physically punished if the behavior that was committed was so egregious that it could have significantly affected their safety or the safety of another human being. So let me give you an example. If your daughter or son comes home late from school, they're supposed to be in by 4, they didn't get in till 6, that's going to be a punishment. Maybe they don't go out the rest of the week. Maybe they have to go help clean up a neighborhood community, because I believe in putting kids to work instead of just sending them to their room. Sending them to their room is not a punishment, because their room has all the new gadgets. They got Instagram in their room, Facebook is in their room, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, internet. Sending a child to a room is like sending them on vacation. Sending a child to a room is like sending them on vacation. So I don't believe in sending them to the room. I believe in putting them to work. Get them out the house and put them to work. There's always people who need help cleaning, building, organizing. We got elders who need their houses cleaned. Put them to work. That's what I believe should be done. Now, if your child now coming home from school at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, that's a punishment. That's not a physical spanking for me. If they come home from school 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, that might be a physical punishment, because being out that late can get you kidnapped, raped, all kinds of a situation that could significantly affect your safety. If you see your 2 or 3 year old, you know, they do something, they talk back, or they play with a toy you told them not to play with, they might be put on timeout. They might get early bed. But if your 2 or 3 year old is caught playing with fire, then you might got to spank their bottom, because playing with fire can get them burned up, can get the house burned up. Grandmama's upstairs in a wheelchair, can get her burned up. That can significantly affect their safety or the safety of another person. If your teenage daughter gets caught having sex, am I automatically spanking her because she was having sex? No, because she had protected sex. That might be a conversation, okay? Children are attracted to each other. So, all right, we need to have a conversation. You're sexually active, that's a conversation. It might even be a punishment in it, okay? Because I wasn't aware you was doing this, all right? Engaging in adult behavior without adult consent. But she ain't getting spanked for that. If I find out she was having unprotected sex, now she might got to get a spanking. Why? Because unprotected sex can get herpes, gonorrhea, chlamydia, AIDS. You can get pregnant, bringing a life into this world that neither you or he is prepared to take care of. So again, if what the child did can affect the safety of themselves or another human being, that could warrant a spanking if the parent deems necessary. But if what they did does not significantly alter the safety, does not put in risk, in jeopardy, the safety of themselves or another person, I don't think physical punishment should be resorted to. And I don't think fathers should ever spank daughters. I do not think fathers should ever spank daughters. And the reason I don't think fathers should ever spank daughters is because we have a very big problem of domestic violence in the black community. And because we have a big problem of domestic violence in the black community, as men, we need to stand on a platform that lets our daughters and women know that you never ever put your hands on a woman under any circumstance for any reason. So if the female child warrants a spanking, that should be carried out by her mother. Men, black men, should never put our hands on our female children. Did that make sense to you, Queen?
Thank you so much.
And I want to add another piece to that. And that piece is, no punishment will be effective if it doesn't matter to your son. No punishment will be effective if it doesn't matter to your son. So when you're looking at consequences for your son, you want to make sure you're dealing with consequences that matter. Okay, it has to matter to him. Parents say, well, I've tried everything. No, you didn't. Because every child has an Achilles heel. Every adult has an Achilles heel. Every human being has things that if it happens to them would frustrate their life so much that they would be willing to do anything to stop it from happening. So you have to find out what that is. Is it the cell phone? Is it basketball practice? Is it the girlfriend? Is it the next door neighbor? Is it his homies? Is it hanging out with you? Is it being with his cousin? Is it the internet? Every child has Achilles heels. You have to find those Achilles heels and you have to squeeze them. And in addition to that, you got to have the positive motivation, because I believe in negative motivation and positive motivation. By positive motivation, what are the rewards that he will earn if he does what he's supposed to do? Never give out rewards every day. Never give out rewards every day. So what you would tell your son, if you meet this mark at the end of the month, there will be a reward. If you meet this mark at the end of the school marking period, there will be a reward. If you meet this mark by your upcoming birthday, this will be the reward. You make sure the reward is out far enough that it requires him to engage in a significant change in behavior in order to obtain that reward. Never make the reward expensive. It should never be expensive gifts, and it should never be money. It should never be expensive gifts, and it should never be money. Okay. I was once asked, why do I support the spanking of children? I was asked this. The reason Dr. Umar supports the spanking of children is because we live in an extremely racist society where black children can receive the ultimate punishment, which is loss of life, for a minor mistake. Let me say that again. We live in a society where black children can receive the ultimate punishment, which is loss of life, for making a minor mistake. For example, if the police tell you to freeze, and you don't freeze, they have permission from the President of the United States and the United States Congress and the Supreme Court to take your life. That is how critical discipline is for black children. You live in a country where your life will be taken for not having discipline. So the reason we spank our children is to introduce them to the possibility of what can happen later in life on a much more extreme level for not having discipline. So the reason we as black people must spank our children at times is to let them know that if this hurts, if this little spanking hurts, this is nothing compared to what will happen to you if you show a lack of discipline in the white man's world. That's why I support spanking, but only when it is necessary. I do not support child abuse. And child abuse is when you spank a child when spanking was not necessary. When you spank a child when spanking was not necessary, that is child abuse. Did you have a follow-up, Queen, or are you good on that?
No, that was excellent. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you, love. Looking forward to working with you as well. I'm getting questions as to when I will be speaking today. And here in Nashville, Tennessee, I will be at East Park and I will be speaking at 2 p.m. I will be here at East Park and I will be speaking at 2 p.m. today. Come on out and support the Nashville Soul Organization. Okay. Good brothers and sisters who run this organization today in Nashville, East Park. The Prince of Pan-Africanism take the stage. It is free outdoors, food, fun, music. I can't wait to get out there and meet and greet all my Nashville family. I'm looking forward to it. It's a beautiful sunny day. Leo season might be over, but the Leo is still here. Do we have another question on the call this morning? Leo season. Do we have another question on the call this morning? At this time, go right ahead. Where you calling from?
Good morning, King.
Good morning, King. Queen, excuse me. Good morning, Queen. Where you calling from?
Iowa.
Iowa. What city in Iowa?
Davenport.
Davenport. How many black folks in Davenport? Little bit or a lot?
Very little.
Very little? Okay. I need to get back out to Iowa. I've been to Des Moines, Iowa once, a couple years ago.
I heard.
And I was put out the church. They put me out
I heard.
for being too revolutionary.
I'm so proud of you.
So that was my experience in Des Moines, Iowa. Go right ahead with your question, gorgeous.
I'm so proud of you. It needed to happen.
Thank you. Thank you.
So here's my question, King. And I did tell some sisters from Pontiac, Michigan that I know that they need to get there on that Wednesday.
Yes,
here's
ma'am.
my question for you. My nephew is at a new high school, and he is taking medication, and relatives they've encouraged my family member not to tell the school, and he's having some adjustments to be in a new school,
and they're seeing some new behavior, and we're, as a family, trying to decide what's best as far as how to support him in a new environment, an awkward middle school space. He's very smart, and he also, some people feel like he needs medication. I don't support that. I respect his parents, but I don't support that. What do I need to share as a relative and concerned family member about how do we advocate for him at school, but also get him some mentorship? And I don't know what to do about like hyperactivity outside of medication, but I know there's a way.
What grade?
6.
Sixth grade. You said he's already on medication, right?
He has been, but there's an opportunity to have him reevaluated, and I'm encouraging let's look at something different.
What is his diagnosis? It's ADHD, conduct disorder, ODD?
ADD.
ADHD. There's no more ADD. ADHD.
I'm sorry, ADHD.
So, and what medicine was he taking? And how long was he on it?
It's inconsistent, and I don't remember the name, but I can tell you from an outside view, it doesn't appear to have been working.
Okay. The reason it wasn't working because he don't have ADHD. That's why it wasn't working, because he don't have that problem, because that problem don't even exist. Do you know how young he was when he was first diagnosed with ADHD and given the meds?
About 2 years ago.
About 2 years ago, 4th grade, way too young for that nonsense. Does the school know that he has an ADHD diagnosis?
No.
They don't. Are you sure?
Father.
Okay, I would not tell them. I would not tell them. If they
I
don't,
would not either.
I would not tell them. But we do got to work on his behavior. We do got to work on his behavior. Well, school just started. How is he doing so far? You still there, Queen?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
How is he doing in school so far? Because he's back in school. It's only been a few weeks. How's he doing so far?
He's attention-seeking. He's awkward.
Where's his biological
That's it.
father? Where's his biological father?
Down south.
Down south. When's the last time he's seen his biological father?
All summer.
He was with him all summer?
Yes, sir.
Did he want to come back?
He did, and that's for stability with his mom, but he did have a great summer.
Okay. I'm not certain he wanted to come back. I'm not certain.
Well, when you bring that up, I guess that's a question I didn't ask him, but that's what I've been told.
Yeah. I'm feeling like he liked it with dad and that he probably should have stayed with dad. That's what I'm picking up. Okay, here's the thing. You said he's attention seeking. See that right there? That right there. That tells us why he's doing what he's doing right there. He's attention seeking. The question is, seeking attention from who? See, the attention he's seeking in school is a substitute. That's a substitute for the real attention he wants. I believe it's dad. Now, does mom has a significant other in the house?
No.
No. Does she have a significant other in her life that he knows, that the son knows?
No.
Okay. So he don't get any masculine energy, really, at home with his mother.
Right.
Boom. That's what the problem is. He's going to school acting like a class clown, being attention seeking because he needs a man's attention. It is natural for a boy to crave that, especially at the age he's at now, adolescence, pre-puberty. He's right there at that time. He needs his dad. And he just got all that daddy attention all summer long. Great summer. And then he gets uprooted out from what he needed so much and get put back in a situation where he ain't going to get it. It's like going from ice to sun. It's like being in the sun and then you get picked up and get thrown in the ice. It's traumatizing to an extent. He's traumatized a little bit because he just got cut off from what he needed so much. I think there needs to be a conversation between mom and dad to see if dad will let him be with him during the school year. He could come with mom during the summer. I think they need to flip-flop. I think it needs to be mom during the summer and dad during the school year. If it were up to me, that's what I think needs to happen. If that can't happen, then something needs to be created whereby he can spend more time with dad. So whether he flies down there once a month, you know, you got 4 or 5 weekends in a month, so maybe he can fly down there once a month or fly down there for the holidays. But we need some sort of continuity of connection with his dad. That's all this is. What do I refer to ADHD as? Ain't no daddy at home disorder. That's what your nephew has. He ain't got ADHD. He got ain't no daddy at home disorder, the other ADHD. That's what this is.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely talk to her about that. It makes sense when you explain it that way. Talk to me about the medication and another eval and how that affects him at home and school.
Okay. As I told the good sister from Pompano Beach, don't get him evaluated. Because remember, you can't prove ADHD. So there's no test that tells us your child has ADHD. That is an opinion that we generate as the psychologist based on the information that we have. Okay? So getting him evaluated is a trap. Don't do it. Because once you get him evaluated and they give him the label, they can now force the medication. Don't get him evaluated, no matter what. The mother has to be firm on that. She cannot sign permission. Once she signs permission, she gives them the power to label him. Once they label him, they can bring in Child Protective Services to force the medication. Do not get that evaluation. He does not need it. And if they harass the mom, all she has to do is respond in writing, telling the principal, I have made my decision. My son will not be getting evaluated for ADHD, and I don't want to be harassed about this anymore.
Thank you. I heard you respond to another sister that way. And I definitely agree that I don't think he needs it, but I'm not a psychiatrist.
Right. Well, remember what I said. Although you're not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, I am. And even if you're not, the side effects, my queen, the side effects is the reason I'm so much against these meds. They kill brain cells, stunt growth, early balding, psychosis, tic disorders, schizophrenia, suicidal thoughts, homicidal ideation, eating disorders, organ dysfunction, sexual dysfunction, impotency, and the list goes on and on. Why do we want to introduce those types of side effects into a life of a child? And then on top of that, be forced to continue with it, even when you see the side effects, because the white folks determine that he still needs it. That's when it really gets bad. When you see your son go through these things, your nephew go through these, and then you say, okay, we taking him off. And then the school steps in with the backing of Child Protective Services, despite all the side effects. They say you cannot stop this or we will take your children from you. And when they come to take the children, they don't come to take one, they come to take them all. You want to be careful.
Thank you. I love and appreciate you. Please keep doing what you're doing.
Appreciate you, sister. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Is there another question on the call this morning? Make sure y'all send y'all donations in. FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware. I repeat, FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. Let's raise this money. If we can't raise $1 million, let's raise $300,000. Let's get the Marcus Garvey building renovated. Let's have our Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass cookout next summer. Soon when the weather break, let's have the open house. Let's have the cookout. Let's have the back to school. Let's have the parent orientation. Let's get ready for next fall, brothers and sisters. Donate. Make sure everybody in your family donate. And you should be ashamed of yourself. Ashamed of yourself if you have never donated to the FDMG Academy. There is no excuse for why you have never made a donation to the most revolutionary, innovative, comprehensive, and necessary institution for our boys in this century. You must donate, and you cannot donate once. You must donate over and over and over and over again. Do we have another question on the call this morning? If we don't have any more questions about the children, I will now allow general questions about whatever, conscious community, me, politics, economics, whatever you want to ask. The lines is open, 857-232-0158. Of course, we're still accepting questions about the children. That is our priority. But if you have regular questions, 857-232-0158. And the access code is 870-864-pound. Let me see if I got any text questions.
Question.
Go right ahead. Where you calling from, Queen?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, California. Go right ahead.
Hi, sir. I have a question. I have a nephew and a niece, and they are 9 years old and 12 years old. My nephew is 12 years old. My niece is 9 years old. They have been living with their mother and their father, and the father has, for the last year, decided to transition to becoming a woman.
Okay, the father is in the process of transitioning, you said? Transgender. The father is in the process of becoming a woman.
Yes.
Yes.
The children are acting out. The son won't have anything to do with his dad. He's getting into trouble. He's fighting every single day at school, picking fights with other children. My niece is just withdrawn completely. I'm thinking the children, and I spend a lot of time with them, so that the parents can work out whatever issue, just to give them a respite, like a break. But when I see the decline from the happy-go-lucky children that they used to be to the children that they are now, it's very concerning. And I'm really worried about them, and I don't know what to do. The grades,
Wow.
they used to be good students in karate. Now their grades are suffering, both of them. They're straight-F students now, and school just started.
Wow. That's tough. So we have the children of a transgendered woman, a man who's in the process of becoming a transgendered woman, and the children are having an understandably unhealthy reaction to this. Wow. This is tough. And it's tough on so many levels, because on one level, they still need their father. And I don't know if he will still be called a father or a mother once he's done the process. I don't know how, will they still call him dad, or do they got to call him mom, which means they will have two moms?
He's telling them to call them Maddie, which is mom and daddy mix.
Maddie. So they have to call him Maddie because he's their mom and dad. Oh, Lord have mercy.
The son is having he's having more of a problem than the daughter, but I'm not going to say that the daughter's feelings aren't as valid. It's just that she's withdrawn and he's acting out physically, like beating up other children, fighting every day, cursing out the teachers.
Question: What is the biological mother saying about this? What is their position? The mother, the biological mother.
She feels betrayed. She feels as though her marriage is over. She's depressed. She sleeps a lot, and that's one of the reasons why I take the children, because she was blindsided by this about a year ago.
Who has custody?
Well, they live in a house with both parents. Both parents are married.
So if the parents are married, wait a minute. If the parents are married and the mother doesn't agree with the father becoming a woman, why is she still there? Like, I'm lost. So she's going to, not to get off topic, but how does that dynamic change the nature of the marriage? Because your husband is going to become a woman like you. So what happens then? I'm lost.
I think the husband still wants to be in the marriage, in the relationship. I don't know if she's thinking that this is a phase he's trying to work out. I have no idea. But he's transitioning outwardly, meaning clothing, as he's transitioning, I want to say biologically, because he's taking hormones and his physical appearance is changing.
And he's taking the hormones. Woo! I feel sorry for the children, but there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. Unless the mother decides that this is too unhealthy for my children, that I'm going to seek separation, even if not divorce, and I'm going to get a court order that the children can come with me, because until this process has been created until this process has been completed and he has completed his transition from manhood to womanhood, the transition period is too traumatizing for the children to be there with him to experience it. That is an argument that the mother can put forth to family court. But as long as she's willing to stay there, there's nothing we can do about the children. Nothing at all.
I'm not sure if she has the financial means to leave, and plus, we're in California, and it's extremely liberal towards the LGBT community.
Exactly.
I don't know if the court would agree.
The court may not. That's the only hope. The court may not. On a lesser level of intervention, on a lesser level, it would be good for the parents to get those children some counseling to help them process this experience in their life, because this is traumatizing. So separate from the fact of what's traumatizing them, they're being traumatized. So I'm hoping that both parents care enough about those children to just get them some counseling. Let them talk to somebody about how they feel in a safe environment where they may not be criticized and judged, because they obviously can't do that at home. We can still get them some general counseling to deal with this traumatizing event in their life. They at least should go to some counseling to help them deal with this.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
And I'm going to pray for them children, because this is, woo! I can't wait till we get the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy up, because if I had my school up, I would say send them to Wilmington, Delaware. We'll take care of them. Get them out of there. Send them to Delaware. Let's save those babies. But one day we'll be there. One day we'll be there. Thanks for that question, Queen. Is there another question on the call today? (857-232-0158) is the number. 857-232-0158. 857-232-0158, and the access code is 870-864#. This is Dr. Umar Johnson live in Nashville, Tennessee for the 4th annual Soul Day, spelled S-O-L-E, at East Park, 12 until 5. The Prince of Pan-Africanism takes the stage at 2. I do have some t-shirts and some books. First come, first serve, $20 a pop. Make sure y'all donate to the school. No more Cash App. No more Cash App. You have to mail a check or money order payable to FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware 19809. We will begin shooting for the shockumentary again this month. Philadelphia, New Jersey, and New York. If you live in Philadelphia, New Jersey, or New York, Philadelphia, New Jersey, or New York, and you have a testimonial for the shockumentary, America's War Against Black Boys, and you are willing to tell your son's story, your story as an educator, counselor, school nurse, probation officer, police officer, juvenile hall personnel, text me 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, so you can be put on the interview list for the documentary. This will be the documentary to rule them all. Okay. I need y'all to mute your phone. Somebody's talking on the line. Please mute the phone, Queen. Mute your phones. Please mute your phone. I'm going to go to the questions on my phone. I have a question from Chicago. Shout out to Chi-Town. If the pharmaceutical market isn't to be supported, what ways of treatment do you recommend we practice as a society? Well, that answer is very simple, because as African people, any treatment for us must treat the whole person. So we don't believe in treating the mind separate from the body. We don't treat the body separate from the mind, and we don't treat the mind or the body separate from the soul. So we embrace an African holistic treatment of our people. We don't separate body parts out. That's not what we do as African people, because what affects one aspect of your being affects all aspects of your being. And we have a profound belief as African people that whenever there's an imbalance in the soul, an imbalance in the body, there's an imbalance in the soul. And whenever there's an imbalance in the soul, there's an imbalance in the body. So we believe in treating the whole body. We don't believe in pharmaceuticals. As African people, we do not embrace the use of pharmaceuticals to deal with psycho-spiritual problems. I have another question, live from Wilmington, Delaware. Dr. Umar, I live in Wilmington, and I teach leadership and development and empowerment through community building in Wilmington. How can I help you with the young men in your school? This is a wonderful and much needed school that you are bringing to our city. Thank you, family. First you can do is email me your resume. Anyone who wants to work at the school should send me a resume. FDMGresumes@gmail.com. FDMGresumes@gmail.com. Second, you can invite me out to be a guest presenter at one of your leadership development and empowerment seminars. I would love to do that. I would love to do that. So just hit me up, but send me that resume. That goes for everybody interested in working at the school. Send your resumes to fdmgresumes@gmail.com. Next question. Are HBCUs considered white institutions? Well, that depends on how you define them. I would not consider HBCUs white institutions, not all of them, because many of them were founded by black folks. But a lot of HBCUs were founded by the states where they exist. So a HBCU that was founded by the state where it exists technically is a white school. It's white funded. It was started by whites and it's controlled by whites. But then you have HBCUs that were founded by black people. Okay, so those I would not consider white institutions. However, HBCUs, in my humble opinion, are too dependent on white money for their survival. They are way too dependent on white money for their survival. And because of that, I would fearfully but reservedly say that in the next couple years, they may be all considered white institutions. For example, Howard University, which is generally considered the mecca of HBCUs, is at risk of no longer being a predominantly African-American institution. Howard University has the largest percentage of non-African-American students and is in jeopardy of no longer being an HBCU if the current trend continues. But Howard University was founded by the government, funded by the government. We can go to Bluefield State University in Bluefield, West Virginia. That is no longer an HBCU. Bluefield State has been colonized by the European, and it is now a predominantly white institution. It is no longer an HBCU. Okay? So that's the answer. Next question. I operate a private school in Tampa. Are you familiar with an African-centered K-12 social studies curriculum? There are a couple of African-centered K-12 curriculums that are out there. Tampa, Florida, your private school. Do you have a building for me in Tampa? I need a venue in Tampa. I need a Kwanzaa lecture venue in Tampa. Any ideas? But yes, get in contact with me, Tampa, Florida. I'm going to give you a couple names of some brothers and sisters you can look up for your K-12 social studies curriculum. Next question. Chicago. How do you work things out with a bitter baby mama? Speaking from a man on experience which a woman refuses a child to still see her dad. Speak on the family dysfunction that displays. I don't think I need to say much. I think we all know that there's a lot of bitter women out there who will keep your child from you if it's the only way they can make you suffer for not being with them. Okay? I've been through it. Okay? Other men have been through it. And all we can do is urge other black women to speak up, not for the man, but speak up for the children's right to have a relationship with their daddy. Too many women are denying men access to their children for bitter personal reasons, and they are affecting the healthy psychosocial development of their sons and daughters for personal reasons. And so all we can do is ask black women to stand up, and we can ask our elders to stand up and help bring an end to the trauma that is caused by baby mama. I'm gonna call it baby mama trauma. And I define baby mama trauma as the trauma created by selfish black women. Some black women, not all, because most of our sisters are not like that, but selfish black women who will deny children access to their father. I call that baby mama trauma. And we have to do something about baby mama trauma because it is a very big problem. Okay? Next question. Can we get tickets to the door in Nashville today? Today's event is free and it is outdoor. So there are no tickets and there are no doors. I repeat, today's event here in Nashville is free and it is outdoors. So you don't need any tickets and there are no doors. We will be in East Park, 12 to 5. Prince of Pan-Africanism will take the stage at 2 o'clock. Next cell phone question is, how can I become one of your co-wives? I'm gonna skip that one for now.
Okay.
How many people are you expecting for your event in Tampa? 300. Next question. Dr. Umar, why do white people value the life of animals more than the life of African Americans? Because they hate us. That's the answer. And they hate you for 3 reasons. They hate you because of your historical accomplishments. They hate you because of your intellectual, spiritual potential. And they hate you because of your genetic predominance over all other human families, meaning that the black man can reproduce himself with any other woman. The black woman can reproduce herself with any other man. Nobody can reproduce themselves in the African. If you want to get rid of Africans, you got to kill them, because you cannot reproduce us out of existence. We have always been and we shall always be until the supreme ruler of the universe decides that the time has come to get rid of us. And when the creator gets rid of Africans, the creator will also get rid of the universe, because there's no universe without the African. We are the original man. We are the original woman of the universe. We are the chosen people. That's why they hate you. Until you get to know yourself, you won't stop hating yourself either. We have to take the European consciousness out of the African psyche. We have to take the European consciousness out of the African psyche. And the only way we can do that is through independent, African-centered, revolutionary, Marcus Garvey type Pan-African liberation, education, and socialization. That's the only solution. I'm not interested in anything if it ain't Garvey. If you're not talking Marcus Garvey, I don't want to hear from you. Okay? I am serious about this. This is Pan-Africanism or it is perish. It is unify or die. It is Africa or extermination. Any other questions on the call this morning? How can we donate to your personal work? Your Cash App is not working. If you want to donate to my personal work, you have to do so through PayPal. PayPal.me/Umar the Psychologist. PayPal. Let me go ahead and type it in. PayPal.me/Umar the Psychologist.
Dr. Umar, may I be heard?
Yes, ma'am. Where you calling from, Queen?
Hey, I'm calling from Covington, Georgia.
Go right ahead.
Well, I have a 15-year-old son. He's in the 10th grade. Well, my question is, I'll ask the question first, but I'll give you a little good background about him. My question is, first of all, he hates school started early this month, and he's been suspended between in-school suspension and out-of-school suspension, primarily for, skipping class, being late to class. He did get into a fight this month as well. But there's a background about him. He was diagnosed with ADHD back when he was in elementary school. And I did try the medication route at that time, but I didn't, continue on with it. I just, was skeptical about it. I guess going to middle school, he always had the, behavioral attention problems, in class, not doing the schoolwork, just cutting them up, things like that.
Where's his biological father?
He's deceased. He died.
How long ago?
I would say it's been two years, maybe going on 2 years now.
So number one, we have a, not to cut you off, number one, we have a possible issue with grief. We have a possible issue with grief, my queen. Your son may still be grieving the loss of his father. He needs grief counseling. He needs grief counseling. We need to get him a grief counselor. That's number one. Remember, depression in children looks like anger. Depression in boys presents like anger. So one of the things we have to do is get your son some counseling. I'm pretty sure that the loss of his father has something to do with this. Is there another male who has stepped in to fill that void due to the father's loss? Does he have another man?
Yes. Well, to answer back to your statement, he is in counseling at this point. Well, it's not more or less for the grief, but it's for his behavior.
But if they don't address the grief, the grief is contributing to the behavior, though. So they need to address that within that counseling. See, all behavior has a function. Yours, mine, the plants, your son's, all living things, behavior have a purpose. Now, if your son was young, I would have said the purpose of his behavior is probably to get attention that he's not getting. But he's a teenager. With teenagers, the purpose of the behavior is normally due to some sort of unresolved emotional or psychological issue. How well do the two of you get along?
Not so great at this point. He is on some medication right now.
For what? Medication for what?
For I guess pretty much for the behavior for on Depakote.
What is the medication?
I'm not sure. Depakote. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. Depakote.
I'm very familiar with it. Depakote is an antipsychotic. This is an antipsychotic. Why is your son taking an antipsychotic medicine at 15 years old?
Well, there was a lot of anger, violence going on in the home. I have an older son. He's 18 now. But for the past couple years, he's been very, I guess you would say, kind of violent. You know, he's pulled out knives on his brother. He put holes in the walls, you know, just breaking things around the home. A lot of violent outbursts that just got out of control. And it got, you know, like I said, it got to a point where, him and his brother get into it a lot, and he put out knives and was going to stab him. So at that point, I had to call the police. And it got so bad, so basically he ended up getting charged with aggravated assault, and so they put him into this probation program, which kind of really didn't help out as much. But then he ended up getting another charge between him and his brother. You know, they got into it again.
Let me give you this. Let me give you this. How long has he been with the current therapist? How long has he been with the current therapist?
Well, this therapist is, I guess, for about a month.
For about a month?
With this therapist.
And how many different therapists has he had since his father died?
I would say maybe 2.
Maybe about 2. Here's the thing you need to keep in mind. If your son is with the therapist and his behavior not getting better, his emotional control ain't getting better, you need a new therapist. A therapist is not somebody you get and you keep them forever. If you're not seeing changes, okay, a year, I would give him a year. Okay, it does take a little bit of time. 6 to 9 months is more like it for me, but you could give a therapist a year. But if you're not seeing any results from a therapist after a year, it's time to get a new therapist. But here's the side. First of all, Depakote is given to people who have seizures, epileptic patients, people with seizures and migraines. They're given Depakote. They also give it for bipolar disorder, which is manic depression. People who go from a real high state of mental activity and then they crash into a depression. That's why they give out Depakote. It is a very powerful drug. This is a drug to stop seizures. Your son at 15 should not be taking this medication. Here's some of the side effects: nausea, vomiting, drowsiness, dizziness, weakness, abdominal pain, stomach upset, rash, diarrhea, increased appetite, pain, tremor, weight gain, back pain, hair loss, headache, fever, loss of appetite, constipation, blurred vision, and the list goes on and on and on. I don't want him on that medication. Now, if you feel he needs to stay on it because he's a danger to himself or others, I can understand that, because I support medication when the medication poses a less risk than what would happen without it. So if he would hurt somebody or hurt himself, then fine, keep him on the medication. But what I'm picking up is personal problems and family problems that can be successfully remedied with the appropriate therapist. I think it's time to, you said a month, the new therapist with a month. So I guess you can wait it out because it is a new therapist. But I want you to consider getting another therapist to deal with the family therapy. Do y'all have family therapy as a group?
No, we don't.
Y'all need that. And I would get a different therapist. I would get a different family therapist, and y'all need to have some sessions, because that young man has a lot of pent up thoughts, ideas, emotions, frustrations that need to be dealt with. And if we can deal with that, he won't need the medication. See, I don't want him to become another casualty. One of these young men who get so angry and frustrated with life that they drop out of school, join gangs, start robbing and shooting and selling dope or whatever. I don't want him to give up on life. But I suspect that he is depressed. All of this angry behavior is nothing but depression masking itself as anger. It's a cry for help. He needs a man. He needs an adult man. Does he have an older brother, uncle, anybody that can start spending time with him?
Yeah, he has my brother-in-law, my sister's husband. He's, actually he lives with us at the moment. He's there for him. He talks to him, and at one point he did have to kind of rough him up at one point. So, he's been a good source for him to go to when he gets upset or, having problems, whatnot.
Mm.
Yeah.
I would get another therapist for the family.
I feel like...
Go right ahead. Go right ahead. I'm listening.
For me, it feels like the medication, I feel like I do see an improvement with the medication. His rages and outbursts there hasn't been much of lately. I'm kind of on the fence with it, but I feel like I do see some, results from it. Now, I guess my question is, as far as school goes, like I said, he's been skipping class or getting in trouble for being late. And, basically I felt like this whole month he's just been on suspension from school. So how can in your view...
Now, wait a minute. When you say, not to cut you off, Quinn, when you say he's been suspended from school all month, you don't mean that literally, do you? Because you can only suspend a child 10 days at a time. Now, you can suspend him for 10. He could come back for a couple of days. You can send him out on another 10. But in order for a child to be suspended from school more than 10 days at a time, that's called a temporary expulsion. And that can only be done by the local school board. A principal cannot suspend a child for more than 10 days. So when you say he's been suspended all month, are you saying that literally? Or are you saying that he's been suspended 3 days here, 2 days here, 5 days here? I just want to clarify.
Right, yeah, so like 3 days there, 2 days there. So a lot of it's been like in-school suspension.
What is he being suspended for? What are the behaviors? What are the behaviors that he's being suspended for? Is he fighting? What's going on?
Well, a lot of it, he was getting referrals from the teachers. I guess, disrupting class out, a couple times. But he got referrals, so he would get like 1 or 2 days in school suspension. Then he did get into a fight with another student, so they gave him, I think it was 3 days out of school suspension. Then he had skipped class. He skipped like 5 periods, and so one of the teachers referred him, so he got a 1-day school out of school suspension. But then he's been late to class 5 times. So they have a rule if you're late more than 5 times or 5 or more, that they give you 3 days in school suspension. So it's been like, off and on. 2 days there, 3 days there, and whatnot. So like pretty much this whole month, he hasn't had much class instruction. He talks about, how he hates school, go to school no more. He basically wants to drop out, basically. He does have trouble, just completing classwork, things of that nature. So, he is on the IEP. He doesn't have an IEP.
Okay, that changes everything. Wait, that changes everything right there. He has an IEP. That means he's special ed. That means, now I want you to hear this. I want you to hear me really well. Now that you said he has an IEP, that he's a special ed child, I got to introduce some other stuff now. Because a special ed child in the United States of America can only be suspended 10 total days out the entire school year. How many days? Well, the school year just started. But how many days would you say he's been suspended? That means in school and out of school. In school and out of school. They all count together. In school suspension is still considered a suspension day. How many total suspension days has your son had since this current school year has started?
Yeah, I would probably say it probably is about 10 or more.
But then guess what? What you're telling me is the school has broke the law. They have suspended your child more than 10 days, which is evidence to the fact that they cannot properly provide for your son's needs who has an IEP. That means it's time for you to write a letter to the principal requesting an IEP meeting to discuss your son's placement and program. The IEP team has 3 responsibilities, Queen. 3 responsibilities. The first one is to create the learning program that your son needs to learn. The second one is to decide where your son will receive his special ed help. The third one is to monitor the progress to make sure your son is benefiting from special ed. I believe that you have enough ammunition against the school to force them to pay for your son to go to a private school. The law says that if you can prove as the parent that the school has not been properly educating your child, that school now becomes obligated to pay for your son to get his education at a private school. They clearly don't want to be bothered with him. They clearly don't want him there, which is fine by us. Pay for him to go to a private school. It's time for you to exercise your rights as a parent of a special ed student. That's what you need to do on the school side. On the family side, y'all need to start that family therapy. And we might need another therapist for him as well. But on the school side, they have broke the law. They have broke the law. They are required to give your son a functional behavioral assessment and positive behavior plan to address his behavior. It doesn't sound like they've done that. And then they're overly suspending him, which means they're denying him his right to an education, which you cannot do more than 10 days out the school year. And you're telling me that your son has only been in school for a month and they've already exceeded 10 days? School has only been in session for not even a month, and you're telling me your son has been removed from his classroom for 10 days. This is a serious breach of the law. You have a case against them, and it's time for you to start exercising your rights. That's what you need to do right now.
So you're saying write a letter to the principal?
Requesting an IEP meeting. Requesting an IEP meeting to discuss your son's program. He obviously ain't learning anything. And his placement, they obviously don't want him in the school. And his progress, how he ever going to learn if he never in school to learn? You see that? The 3 P's. The IEP team has 3 responsibilities. Program, what he going to learn. Placement, where he going to learn it. Progress, making sure he's learning. You're telling me that the program ain't no good. The placement obviously ain't no good because they never leave him in school. So the regular public school can no longer be the placement. It's time for a private school. Though that conversation must be with the IEP team. And you need to request that by writing a letter to the principal. And you need to go to that meeting and say, I believe that this school cannot meet my son's needs. And the law says if y'all cannot meet his needs, y'all must pay for a school where his needs can be met. Y'all have suspended my son 10 days and he ain't even been to school 30 days yet. The first month of school, y'all done already exhausted 10 days. I'm here to request a private school for my son because I don't believe the school can meet his needs. And they're probably going to say, no, we don't approve your request. That's not a problem. Then you're going to go to the State Department of Education. What city you in? Where you at?
I'm out outside of Atlanta.
Okay, Georgia. You're going to go to the Georgia State Department of Education website. You're going to get the phone number to Special Education Disputes or Dispute Resolution, and you're going to call the State Department of Education, and you're going to say, I would like to file a due process complaint against my son's school district. He has a disability, and the school is not properly addressing his behavior issues. And you're going to fill out a complaint, or they're going to take it by phone, and they're going to send a hearing officer out to your son's school. They're going to investigate. They're going to interview you. They're going to interview the school. And then there's going to be a hearing. You're going to be on one side, and the school going to be on the other side, just like a courtroom. But there's not enough judges to hear all the special ed cases. So they empower regular citizens with the authority of a judge to make decisions in special ed issues. It's called a special ed due process hearing. You're going to get a special ed due process hearing, and they're going to hear your argument, why you want your child to go to a private school at public expense. And then they're going to hear the school's argument, why they feel your child needs to stay where he is. And then they're going to decide either against you or for you. It's time for you to fight for your son. But I will say this. You have to make sure that you have dotted your I's and crossed your T's. Because if that school says we've been trying to work with the mom and the mom don't come up, or we can't reach the mom, or the mom don't care, or she ghetto, or she hood, and they're going to try to blame you for these problems. So you need to make sure that you're on your game. You need to make sure that you're on your game. What is his special ed disability? Why is he in special ed in the first place? What is his disability?
For that ADHD, well, pretty much for the ADHD.
So he's in special ed for ADHD, which means he's in special ed for other health impairment, because ADHD is not a special ed disability. ADHD is a mental disorder, but you can qualify for special ed with a mental disorder if it adversely affects your educational progress. So he's in special ed for ADHD, which is even more of a problem for me. You know why? Because ADHD don't affect learning. First of all, it don't exist. But even for people who do believe it exists, it does not affect your ability to learn. So now your son is being put in special ed for a problem that isn't even related to learning, which tells me your son is not learning, because he's probably smarter than most of them kids in there. He don't need to be in special ed. He needs to be in the regular classroom, which brings another idea to mind that I want you to consider. And that is whether or not your son should have a 504 accommodation plan instead of an IEP. Have you ever heard of a 504 plan?
I've heard of it, but I don't know the difference between the 504.
I'm going to tell you the difference right now. You have IEP versus 504. The IEP is a learning program that children with disabilities receive. So when you have an IEP, you are in special ed. You are given a dumbed down curriculum because probably a mother or father of yours was dumb enough to sign off on paperwork saying that you needed a dumbed down curriculum, not to be harsh. But you get a dumbed down curriculum because it's believed that you can't keep up in the regular classroom. So an IEP equals dumbed down curriculum.
Not to cut you off, Dr. Umar, but he is in the regular classroom. He don't leave the class or go to any other class. He's always been in the regular classroom.
So here's my next question.
They just have
well, let me finish this difference, and then I got a question for you on that point you just gave. So IEP is special ed. 504 is civil rights law. IEP is for kids with disabilities. 504 is for kids with any problem that can affect their adjustment and ability to function in school. IEP is about learning in school. 504 is about functioning in school. IEP is about learning in school. 504 is about functioning in school. You see, so to get an IEP, you have a disability in special ed. To get a 504, you have some sort of a disability, but it doesn't have to be special ed. With a 504 plan is accommodations. IEP is modification. With an IEP, you modify the learning. With a 504, you don't modify the learning. The child stays in the regular class, but you provide the child with accommodations, extra time to take his tests, tutoring, one-to-one aid, behavior plan, regular breaks from the classroom. You get accommodations. And I want you to know the difference. 504, we just want to give him things, supports, so he can function. He's not going to special ed. He's not getting a dumbed down curriculum. He's staying in the regular class. We're just going to give him supports. But with the IEP, we're going to dumb down the learning and change the curriculum. So what you have to decide, does my son need a dumbed down curriculum or does he just need accommodations? Because if all your son needs is accommodations, he shouldn't even have an IEP. He should have a 504. And the fact that you just told me that he doesn't even go to a special ed class, if he doesn't go to a special ed class, he don't need an IEP. He needs a 504.
Well, I mean, now that you say that, I mean, it kind of sounds like he does have a 504, but they're calling it an IEP because they do give him accommodations. They give him.
Well, you can get accommodations on an IEP. You can get accommodations on an IEP, but an IEP is not principally about accommodations. An IEP is principally about instructional modification to the curriculum for kids who can't learn as well as others. An IEP is about instructional modifications to the curriculum for children who cannot learn as well as other children. Does your son need instructional modifications to the regular ed curriculum because he can't learn as well as the others? Because if he don't need that, then he should not have an IEP. He should have a 504 only.
Okay. Well.
Your next step is to write a letter. Your next step. But the point, okay, here's what I'm telling you though. The school is obligated by the federal government. The school is obligated by the federal government to address your son's behavior problems. That is the law. If they're not doing that, they have to pay for him to go to a school where they can be addressed. But here's the thing I need to say to you, Queen. You cannot be intimidated by that school. If you cannot get justice for your son, if you're intimidated by the white folks. You cannot get justice for your son if you are intimidated. You have to take the fight to them. And you need to take the fight to them with more than just yourself. You need to take somebody with you. Don't go to that school by yourself no more. Because I hear you, you feel tired, you feel frustrated, you're checking out. And I'm telling you, you got to check in or your son gonna check out. You have to check in or your son gonna check out. So here's the next thing you're gonna do. You're gonna draft a letter to the principal that you're gonna email to me and I'm gonna read it. That's your next thing is we're going to do this step by step because you're frustrated. So I don't want to give you too much. Step by step. Okay. Write the letter, send it to Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar going to review the letter and you're going to give it. I'm going to walk you through this whole thing. But the first thing is your letter. Take my cell number so you can text me once your letter is ready.
Okay. I wrote it down to 215-989-95.
Exactly. Get that letter done, and you need to get that letter done this week. We don't want to play around. Get right on it. Once it's done, you're going to call me. Dr. Umar got the letter done, and I'm either going to have you read it to me on the phone, or I'm going to have you email it to me, and I'll tell you where you need to make changes to the letter. Need to be strong. Letter need to be strong.
Okay, so basically you talk about, requesting the IEP.
Yes, to discuss your problem. Put your concerns in there as you would put them. My son has been getting suspended too much. He's being denied his education. Put your experience in that letter. And you're going to put that I don't believe y'all can meet his needs. And I believe he will be best served at an approved private school. And the law says if y'all can't meet his needs, y'all have to pay for that school. And I want to discuss this at the IEP meeting.
Okay. Where can I look at that law as far as
you can Google it. I'm sure you can find 504 plan online. You can find IEP. I'm an expert in this field, so I know it like the back of my hand because this is what I've been doing for the past 20 years. But you can Google it and find it.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'll get on that.
Will do.
All right. Have a good one.
You too now. All right, we got 15 minutes left. 15 minutes left. Do we have another question on the call this morning?
Well, yeah. This is Charles. I go by Olu.
From where, brother? From where?
I'm from Los Angeles.
Go right ahead.
And so I have a situation where so I'm a Pan-Africanist, and my family members know that, and I have a lot of coons in my family, and my mother actually been trying to break up the family, and she succeeded finally by talking to my wife. Well, I've been with her for 12 years, and she started all kind of lies and causing a lot of disruption and giving the kids candy and doing all kind of crazy stuff, a long list of crazy stuff, right? I'm trying to be brief. And so the police came, and she had got a cabal of people, her coerced her family members and her friends to make phone calls against me. So with just the phone calls, and they said all kind of lies and crazy stuff, I have the reports and everything. I looked through the reports, and it's all lies. It's all, I can send you the paperwork. It's all lies. And so the police came in, and I managed to evade them or send them away 4 times, and then finally on the 5th time when I went to court, after the courtroom, I had went to jail off of some unpaid tickets, and I went to jail for 2 days, right? And they released me early because they know I'm not like a criminal type of dude in jail and everything, so the police was very nice. So they let me out on Monday, and they thought I was gone for like 3 months. And so they managed to take the children off of that, and so, I was very frustrated for like 3 months, man, and it's been like really crazy. They took my boys, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do right now, but, I just need advice. I need like a lawyer. I need somebody out here in Los Angeles I can work with, because I'm very capable. I just need to know more about the law. So I discovered that CPS is a very criminal organization. They take children out here. It's crazy. So I want to start an organization. I want to and also support you. Anything I can do, to support Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy.
I got you. I can't remember offhand. You know what? I do know a brother in LA who works with fathers with issues with the children. And I know that's not the sum total of your challenge, but I'm pretty sure he can probably help you or point you in a direction that can get you some help with this. You have my cell number?
Yes.
Okay. Text me Monday. Because if you text me today, I'm going to forget about it because of the event in Nashville. Text me Monday. I'll be back in Philly. And I'm going to text you that brother's information. Just remind me you're the brother out there who needs some legal help with a family situation.
Okay.
And I'm going to send you a couple contacts.
Okay. Word.
All right, we on that, brother. Stay positive, too. They beating us all down, brother. They beating us all down. So we got to unite, and that's why I want to get the school done, brother, because we're gonna have Black Men Conference, Black Women Conference.
I want to gather some fathers. There's a lot of stuff going on in Los Angeles. I want to gather the fathers out here, man. It's a whole thing. I want to build.
No doubt. In fact, I love to come out there and do a Black Fatherhood Conference. You know what I mean? We just got to find a place to do it at, a place that could hold about 400 or 500 fathers. You know what I mean? Maybe me and you could work on that.
I'll work on that. Yeah, I'll be in contact with you because it's a lot.
Will do, brother. Let's talk soon.
All right. Appreciate you.
Got you. No
Peace,
doubt.
peace.
All right now. Peace and love. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Do we have another question on the call this morning? We're down to our final 10 minutes. Do we have another question?
Hello, Dr. Umar.
Peace and love, gorgeous. Where you calling from?
Connecticut.
Connecticut. Where at in Connecticut?
Hartford.
Hartford. I'm going to be speaking in Bridgeport on Saturday, next Saturday the 14th. I hope you can make it out.
Yeah, I hope so too. You were coming right in Hartford a couple months ago, but you had to cancel.
Yeah.
I was disappointed.
I'm going to make it up, though, at some point. I'm going to definitely make that up.
Okay. Well, listen, this question is in regards to my 13-year-old son.
Yes.
I guess, just let me give you some background on him, I guess. I'll start here. He acts out, not in school, but at home. He has very, violent episodes where he just destroys property in the house. He'll threaten to run away. And sometimes he'll threaten to kill me and his siblings.
Your 13-year-old son has threatened to kill you. Okay.
Now, her thing, you might not get through because there's only 8 minutes left. But when you come here, I'll make sure we go see him, okay?
Mute your phone, Queen. Mute your phone. Mute your phone. Mute your phone, please.
You're going to be an activist anyway. Humanitarian. That's what you're going to be.
Mute your phone.
I just think you've always said you care for your friends and people.
I guess you can't hear.
Mute your phone, Queen. Mute your phone. Mute your phone. Go right ahead, sister.
Okay. So, the thing about his episodes is they're very sporadic. Like, for about a month now, he's been fine. You know, he's been like the star child. But, you know, if something doesn't go his way, or if I'm like hard on discipline, like if I really stay consistent, then he'll just have these outbursts to where he's very disrespectful. He just destroys property. He puts holes in the wall.
Where's his biological father?
His biological father is around, and in fact, now more than ever, he's been spending more time with him.
Is there a reason why he can't go live with him for a while?
Well, it's that age-old, you know, where the mother, which is me, doesn't really so-called approve of the lifestyle.
Why not? Why not? What is he doing that you feel would be a detriment to your son?
I feel that he lives a lifestyle of that can be potentially dangerous. He lives with roommates. They, not to say that, you know, marijuana is the baddest thing, but, you know, they dip and dab in that lifestyle. He has affiliation with groups that I don't approve of. I think it's very unhealthy, and I think that will be dangerous. I think that my son would have access to a lot of things that would, you know, at his maturity level right now would be, you know, dangerous to his upbringing.
Okay.
So,
gotcha. Where is anger coming from? This has a source. Where's this anger coming from? What happened?
I don't know.
You don't know? Because
I don't know.
for your son to threaten your life, for him to be doing damage to furniture, something major happened. That anger didn't come out of nowhere. And it could be a million and one things. It could be the way you and father broke up. It could be because of what father told him. It could be because you kept him from the dad. It could be because you don't spend time with him. It could be because he think you treat other siblings better. It could be because of physical abuse, verbal abuse, sexual abuse. Something happened for him to be. No 13-year-old threatens their mother's life. That is serious. That is dead serious. And even though he's been having a good month, I'm not comfortable with this. I am not comfortable with this, Queen. No. We got to find out what is the function of this behavior.
If I think about it, Dr. Umar, if I really think about it, he's been having these episodes for years. Even when he was like in the second grade, it wasn't as much back then. It was maybe like once a year he would like, you know, go off and cut up.
So do you know what you're telling me then?
You know.
What you're telling me then is we have allowed this to grow out of control. So from second grade until now, this behavior and habit has been reinforced by us because we really didn't handle it back then. So this is just the natural growth of a small problem into a big problem because it was never checked at that time. We now have to check it.
Right.
Because your son will soon be large enough where he can actually hurt you. I mean, I hope it's just verbal, but for it to have gone on this long, I think there's a little bit more energy behind this. I don't think he's just selling wolf tickets. So we have to find out what happened back in second grade. Did he threaten your safety in second grade as well?
No, he would just destroy property.
But he would destroy property in the second grade.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was very, like, it wasn't like, it would happen like once a month. It wasn't something that I had.
It don't matter if it happened once a year. That I don't care if it happened once a year. You don't destroy property. That's major. That is anger. That is rage. I mean, was he a Did he ever live with anybody else in the family or something? He always been with you?
No, he always been with me.
Was he, did you spend a lot of time with him as a youth, or was he kind of shuffled around to different people in different daycares?
I think maybe around third grade, I had gotten into a relationship that kind of, it took a lot of my time and energy. Well, I allowed it to take a lot of my time and energy. But
How long was you in it? How long?
I was in that relationship for 8 years.
When did that relationship end?
That relationship ended a couple years ago.
How many years ago?
About 2 years ago.
So you've been out of it for 2, but you was in it for 8. How old is your son now?
He's 13 now.
He's 13. So you started that relationship when he was about 4, did you say? 3?
Yep.
About 4, and you ended it when he was 11?
11.
Did you and the man live together?
No.
Okay, but he was there a lot. He knew your son and your son knew him.
Yes.
Okay, that's probably the problem. He's angry at you because he believed you put your significant other before him. How did your significant other treat him? Was he mean or dismissive towards your son?
No, not necessarily.
But there was something that wasn't right there. What didn't your son like about that man?
It was something that wasn't right. I think both of my children, because I also have a daughter, but they both, I do feel like I neglected them at that time in the relationship because I was always wanting to be with that person. That person
Yes.
was always taking me away.
Yes.
That thing of buying my time, and I think I did neglect them in a way, but I also gave them everything.
Giving don't mean nothing. Children need time, not gifts. They don't care about no gifts. It's okay. You made a mistake. We make them. You now have to fix it. And that means that it's going to start by apologizing to them for what happened. And you're going to have to start spending time with them. He's angry and hurt. Your son is really depressed. That anger is a mask for his depression. So y'all need to go to therapy. You and your son need therapy alone. You and your daughter need therapy alone. And all 3 of y'all need therapy together. He's hurting from that. Those 8 years, he feel that you robbed him of y'all relationship for another man. The good news is you can fix it. The good news is you can fix it. Get a therapist and sit down and talk and tell your son. He was in counseling, but y'all wasn't in counseling. This ain't about him. It's about y'all. You and him. You and him. So that's what you need to do. You can fix it, though. You can fix this. That's the good news. You can fix it. He needs counseling, and then y'all need counseling together.
All right, I hear you.
You feel me? Get right on it, too. Get right on it. Now, even though you know that you are partially to blame for this, you can't let him get away with doing whatever he wants either. You follow what I'm saying? So you still got to stick to the discipline, you know, but get that counseling. Get on that ASAP. Get you a black counselor, preferably a man.
Okay.
Preferably a man. And he needs his own counselor, too. He needs a separate one. So you basically got 4 different counselings going on. It might not be 4 different counselors, but you got your daughter need counseling by herself. Your son need counseling by himself. Y'all need counseling as a family.
But I don't want him to feel like, because the last time we spoke to a counselor or he was in counseling, and it wasn't with a psychologist, it was just with a counselor. You know, he kept asking me, Mom, well, what's wrong with me? Why do you think something's wrong with me? And it kind of makes me feel bad.
I don't care about that. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant because he needs it. And you need to let the counselor know that. It's the counselor's job to explain to your son that people don't come to counseling because they have problems. They come to counseling to prevent problems. Counseling is an intervention. So you just need to let the counselor know that. The counselor should be able to explain that to your child.
Right. All right, Dr. Umar. Thank you for your advice.
No problem. No problem. Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
All right, bye.
All right. No. I'm here for another night.
Oh, okay.
Another night. And I'm okay. Because I didn't check in till late. So,
Oh.
yeah. No worries.
Okay.
Okay, Mama? All right, no problem, no problem. Oops. I thought they smelled my incense, but they was coming to clean the room. I thought I got in trouble for my incense. But anyway, I'm going to conclude at this time because it's 11 o'clock here in Nashville and I need to get ready to present this afternoon. If you live in Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, Knoxville, Tennessee, Indiana, Arkansas, Nashville, the state of Tennessee touches 5 different states, the Carolinas. I'll be speaking today from 2 until 4 o'clock. The event is from 12 until 5, and it will be followed by, I believe, a kickball game or something. So we basically going to be out there for a while. We're going to be out there till sundown. So come on out, shake my hand. Ladies, give me a hug. Haters, tell me how much you don't like me. Come take your picture. Come get a book, whatever you need to do. But I'm here in Nashville, first time in 5 years, second time ever. We will be at the East Park, 12 to 5, food, music, games, enjoyment. Please donate to the School Brothers and Sisters FDMG Academy, check or money order, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware 19809. You could donate to the Shockumentary and all my other personal works by going to PayPal. My PayPal email address is umarthepsychologist@yahoo.com. The link is paypal.me/umarthepsychologist. If you need to reach me, you can text me 215-989-9858. You can email me, DrUmarJohnson@yahoo.com. Don't forget, you can purchase your unapologetically African clothing at DrUmarJohnson.com. We will have hoodies coming out soon for the fall. It's about to get chilly outside, so we will have a whole entree of unapologetically African hoodies at DrUmarJohnson.com. I just launched a podcast site where I'm going to be doing regular podcasts. I have one up there now on why you should not get your child evaluated for ADHD. If anyone is thinking about getting their child evaluated for ADHD, please go to the podcast, unapologeticallyafrican.com. We spell Africa with the K. It costs $5 for the podcast. Download it, listen to it. No more ADHD. We have to declare war on ADHD. Bridgeport, Connecticut, I will see you Saturday. Coming up, Messiah Church, looking forward to it. Memphis, Tennessee, I will see you October the 5th. Looking forward to that. Pontiac, Michigan, I will see you September the 18th. Looking forward to that. If anyone would like to invite me out to speak for a seminar, for a conference, remember, I do not charge for the children, okay, unless you're charging for the children or unless you have a lot of money to pay. But if you need me to come speak at the prison, the halfway house, the juvenile detention center, the jail, I don't charge for those types of things, okay? So get in contact with your brother, 8444 Dr. Umar Johnson. 8444 DrUMAR. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism. One love. Signing out. Black Power. All right.